Have you ever found out the person you trusted most was lying to you? I did, and it changed my life forever. My wife, Lynn, and I had been married for 5 years, and everything seemed perfect. We had a beautiful home, a loving family, and a successful business together. But on my 30th birthday, I decided to surprise her by coming home early from a business trip. As I walked into our bedroom, I saw something that made my heart stop. My wife was kissing her ex-boyfriend, the same man she had told me she hated. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. How could she do this to me? I thought we had a happy marriage. But as I looked closer, I saw that my wife was not just kissing her ex, she was also wearing a necklace that I had never seen before. It was a beautiful diamond necklace, and it looked expensive. Suddenly, I realized that my wife had been hiding something from me. But what? And why was she cheating on me with her ex? I decided to confront her, but as I approached, I heard her say something that made my blood run cold. "I'm so glad you're back," she said. "I have something important to tell you." What could she possibly want to tell me? And why did she look so nervous? As I stood there, frozen in shock, my wife turned around and saw me. She looked guilty, and her eyes widened in fear. "Min, I can explain," she said, but I didn't want to hear it. I felt like I had been living a lie, and I didn't know what to believe anymore. I thought about all the times she had told me she loved me, all the times we had shared together. Was it all a lie? I didn't know what to do, so I just turned around and walked out of the room. I needed some time to think, to process what I had just seen. As I walked downstairs, I saw our family photos on the wall. We looked happy, in love. But now, I realized that it was all a facade. My wife had been cheating on me, and I didn't know why. I felt like I was living in a nightmare. I decided to go for a walk, to clear my head. As I walked, I thought about our marriage, about the good times and the bad. I thought about the reasons why my wife might be cheating on me. Was I not good enough? Was I not providing for her? I didn't know, and it was driving me crazy. I walked for hours, trying to make sense of everything. But the more I walked, the more confused I became. I didn't know what to do, or where to go. All I knew was that I needed to confront my wife, to find out the truth. But as I walked back home, I saw something that made my heart sink. My wife was standing outside, talking to her ex. They were laughing, and they looked happy. I felt like I was going to throw up. What was going on? And why was my wife still talking to him? I decided to sneak back into the house, to avoid them. I didn't know what to do, but I knew I needed to find out the truth. As I snuck back into the house, I heard my wife and her ex laughing. It sounded like they were having a good time, like they were happy. But I knew that it was all a lie. My wife was cheating on me, and I didn't know why. I decided to investigate, to find out more about her ex. Who was he? And why was my wife still seeing him? I started by looking through our computer to see if I could find any clues. As I scrolled through our emails, I found something that made my heart stop. My wife had been emailing her ex, talking about meeting up. They had been planning this for months, and I had no idea. I felt like I had been living in a bubble, like I was the only one who didn't know. I didn't know what to do, but I knew I needed to confront my wife. I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. I needed to find out the truth, to know why my wife was cheating on me. As I continued to investigate, I found more and more evidence. My wife had been lying to me, cheating on me, and I didn't know why. I felt like my whole world was crashing down, like everything I thought I knew was a lie. I didn't know what to do, but I knew I needed to keep searching for the truth. As I continued to investigate, I found more and more evidence of my wife's infidelity. I found text messages, emails, and even a secret Instagram account. It was like she had a whole other life, a life that I knew nothing about. I felt like I was living in a dream, like everything I thought I knew was a lie. I didn't know what to do, but I knew I needed to keep searching for the truth. I started by talking to our friends, to see if they knew anything. But no one seemed to know anything, or at least they weren't telling me. I felt like I was getting nowhere, like I was stuck in a rut. But then, I received a message from an unknown number. "Meet me at the coffee shop at 5 p.m., it said. "I have information about your wife." I was skeptical, but I decided to go anyway. As I sat at the coffee shop, waiting for the mysterious person to arrive, I couldn't help but think about my wife. Why was she cheating on me? And who was this person who had information about her? As I waited, I saw a woman walk in. She was dressed in a black coat, and she looked nervous. "Are you Min?" she asked, looking around nervously. "Yes," I replied, trying to stay calm. "I have information about your wife," she said, pulling out a folder. "She's been cheating on you for months, and I have proof." I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I didn't know what to say, or what to do. But as I looked through the folder, I saw the evidence. My wife had been cheating on me, and I had no idea. I felt like my whole world was crashing down, like everything I thought I knew was a lie. I didn't know what to do, but I knew I needed to confront my wife. I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. As I left the coffee shop, I felt a sense of determination. I was going to find out the truth, no matter what it took. I was going to confront my wife, and I was going to make her tell me everything. As I walked back home, I felt a sense of anger. How could my wife do this to me? And why was she still lying to me? I didn't know what to do, but I knew I needed to keep searching for the truth. I was going to get to the bottom of this, no matter what it took. As I walked back home, I felt a sense of determination. I was going to confront my wife, and I was going to make her tell me everything. I was going to find out the truth, no matter what it took. As I walked into the house, I saw my wife sitting on the couch. She looked nervous, like she knew something was wrong. "We need to talk," I said, trying to stay calm. "What's going on?" she asked, looking up at me. "I know about your affair," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I know about your ex, and I know about the emails and the text messages." My wife looked shocked, like she had been caught red-handed. "Min, I can explain," she said, but I didn't want to hear it. "No, you can't," I said, feeling a sense of anger. "You've been lying to me for months, cheating on me behind my back. How could you do that to me?" My wife looked down, like she was ashamed. "I'm sorry," she said, but I didn't believe her. "Sorry isn't enough," I said, feeling a sense of hurt. "You need to tell me the truth. You need to tell me why you did it." My wife looked up at me, and I saw tears in her eyes. "I was unhappy in our marriage," she said. "I felt like we were growing apart, and I didn't know what to do. I felt a sense of sadness, like I had failed her in some way." "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, trying to understand. "I was afraid," she said. "I was afraid of losing you, of losing our marriage." I didn't know what to say, but I knew I needed to listen. I needed to hear her out, to understand why she did what she did. As we talked, I realized that our marriage was not as perfect as I thought it was. We had problems, and we needed to work on them. But I also realized that my wife's infidelity was not just about our marriage. It was about her own unhappiness, her own insecurities. I felt a sense of compassion, like I understood her in a way that I never had before. But I also felt a sense of anger, like I had been betrayed. I didn't know what to do, but I knew I needed to make a decision. I needed to decide whether to forgive my wife or to end our marriage. As I looked at her, I saw the woman I loved, the woman I had married. But I also saw a stranger, a woman who had cheated on me behind my back. I didn't know what to do, but I knew I needed to take my time. I needed to think about our marriage, about our future. I needed to decide whether to forgive her or to move on. As I looked at my wife, I realized that our marriage was not just about love. It was about trust, respect, and communication. We had failed in all of those areas, and now we were paying the price. But as I looked into her eyes, I saw the woman I loved, the woman I had married. I saw the good times, the laughter, and the adventures we had shared. And I knew that I couldn't just give up on our marriage. I needed to forgive her, to work on our problems, and to rebuild our relationship. It wouldn't be easy, but I knew it was worth it. As we hugged, I felt a sense of hope. I felt like we could overcome anything, as long as we had each other. And as we walked out of the house, hand in hand, I knew that our marriage was not over. It was just beginning. I learned that marriage is not just about love, but about trust, respect, and communication. And I learned that forgiveness is not just about forgetting, but about understanding and moving forward. Our story is not just about infidelity, but about the power of love and forgiveness to overcome even the darkest of challenges.